Dosta mi je Rata, dosta mi je boja, kada nam više...
Well, I was gonna cover this at some point or another. 1994's Dosta mi je Rata is presumably the first and only album Goran Legenda ever made. Kind of ironic since he ended up as anything but, get it? Legenda, legend. Anyways, I nabbed this tape along with a few others as a makeshift lot, and coincidentally, the tapes I got in this lot had a Mitrovic in one way or another. The orchestra in this album is Slavko Mitrovic Saleta, who is Nina Trade's powerhouse, to some degree. If that name sounds familiar, that's because Slavko carried a lot of singers' careers. He was featured in albums like Ne dam krajine, Koridor Slobode, Ameriko ne diraj Srbiju, Za svoj narod, Ja se svoga ne oričem do groba, Oj manjačo, Nina Trade, and Renom Era by Amali Kaninja, and many more. However, despite the many albums he worked on, not all of them were bops. While not a terrible album, this album is definitely in the meh department. Actually, some songs feel like they were kind of an afterthought. Like, they planned Oj krajno majtski cvetu, Junak Velko, Dosta mi je Rata, and Spremi mi majku večeru. But we're like, oh shit, we need 4 more songs. I think what doesn't help is that these sound mostly similar. Don't worry, this isn't the worst offender of this issue. We'll get to that at some point. Speaking of the tape, the sides are uniquely named. Instead of the typical strana A and B, it's Istok and Zapad. Why this decision was made? Well,
the world may never know.
And it makes for a unique find in my ever-growing cassette collection. And look at this guy's dress shirt. I dig paisley patterns and I'd love to get my hands on it. Now that our brief overview is done, let's move on to my tape. If you or a loved one have a copy of this album online that looks different than my tape or any on the database, go to www.discogs.com. That's www.discogs.com and upload your version to the database today. Making an account is free, and to make things easier, you can click here for a head start. Just make sure you note your difference in this little box right here. Helps with organization, and while the mods don't check over in our TurboFolk area that often, it will give you a better chance to prevent needs changes. Good luck, fellow future archivists, and remember, archive, archive, archive. This is my tape. It's a Lazarevich Productions tape, not an original Nina Trade version. It's one of the better looking tapes in my collection. The jacket is in great condition and so is the tape. The only issue that I have is the mixing of the album. Side A is relatively quiet, while B sounds fine. When applying noise reduction to side A, however, it gets worse. Goran's vocals drown out, and it is especially bad on track 2. No amount of equalization got me satisfying results, and is basically the reason why I plan to release a cleaner version of the tape and then canned it. But random attribute, what about the version Vucek uploaded? He specifically credited you with providing the files. Yeah, about that. From what it sounds like, he might have used the old files I initially uploaded on a Google Drive folder. These had reverb that wasn't present in the original, and after dwelling on it, I decided to re-record the files and redid basically everything, so it sounded kind of how it sounded on my Walkman, if that makes sense. I did offer a segmented raw version, I believe, in the same folder, but I think what he did was he used the old files, I think? And that's the version that you hear on the Vucek upload. Whoops. Anywho, I hope that someone out there recovers the original tape, or at least a Laz Pro version with better mixing. Alright, I think that's all I have to say about this tape. Let's move on to the tape contents. So, the contents of this tape. What can I say? There's a talk of Chetniks, the Turks, cheating on your girl, Velikosur, cheating on your girl! That's right, the song Shtaya Mala Bogati is about how cheating is okay because, you know, you still love your girl. I'm not sure what's worse, the song, or how it literally comes after a song about Kraina. Even more confusing, the other love song in the same side, Mala Moya Neprekosi, is about how he's loyal and he's an amazing guy and his girls are his only. In the vocal department, well, this isn't an insult in the slightest. However, Goran sounds effeminate. His voice sounds delicate compared to your typical gruff, baritone, dry vocals that you typically hear in a patriotic tape. Listen, I'm not saying that he's gay. Grow up. I'm just saying that his voice is a little softer than what you'd expect. Speaking of songwriting, Goran actually didn't write this album. As a matter of fact, he's just a performer. Though there's no exact performer credits, so we actually can't determine if Legenda is a pseudonym or his real name. Is he one of the songwriters that seem to not have any presence on Discogs? Or is that part in due part for poor documentation? To this day, we may never know. There are 3 known appearances of Legenda in the wild. One from a TV performance where he sings Oi Kraino Maitsuki. I'm sorry, let me go on a tangent. What is your problem, dude? You preserved a piece of history, but slap on some annoying watermarks on it. I'd love to read those credits, but you just can't even be bothered to add a bit of transparency to this. Listen, I understand that Arhiva is paranoid about content thieves, and you know what? I am too, but come on, what is this? No wonder your channel got terminated. You're creating a visible target for your Another in what I assume the same year at a festival in Ilija, and another where he sings Zbogom Oružje at a school or event of some sort with a child audience. Yeah, this Zbogom Oružje, the song by the Ninja himself. It seems that he performed at a school or event with a lot of kids. Whatever the context is, unfortunately, I'm not too sure of. And look at this kid. She's jamming hard. She even knows the lyrics. I bet if Legenda messed up the lyrics, he'd get a stern talking to from this little girl. This video actually does remind me of this Baja Užvio performance, also with a child audience. Huh, I wonder if it's the same place. Maybe not. After 1995, nothing. Where did he go? Was he a soldier? Was he a deserter? Where did he buy such a nice dress shirt? We may never know the answer to these questions. Before we close this video, I've got a theory on this tape. What if Legenda is a character? And this album talks about the downward spiral of Goran Legenda. It makes sense. If you just interpret it as just a collection of songs, structurally, it doesn't really make any sense. Why is he talking about Kraino and then cheating on his girlfriend? That's really weird. But I feel like if you interpret it this way, it starts making sense. So we get 2 sides of the coin here. We get Goran Legenda, a soldier, a Serb fighter, promising to fight for his country and never giving up. But in the midst of this, we get another side of him. This side of Goran Legenda is on his personal life, mainly his relationship with his girlfriend, and it shows that he is not too loyal. Perhaps in the midst of his service, he meets another girl and smooches her, and Goran Legenda, like the Sigma male he is, decides to just casually tell his girl, and this obviously does not sit well with her. He also tries to lure another girl, saying, well, I'm not rich, but I make up for it in personality. All of this culminates when Goran arrives home from war. He gets a taste of karma. He finds his girlfriend with another man. A man who is none other than a deserter of the war. With this revelation, he becomes disillusioned with the war, breaks up with his girlfriend, moves out, and finally moves in and lives with his mother. That is Goran Legenda's downward spiral. But hey, I mean, that is a theory.
Okay.
I got to stop using that. That is awful. But anyways, I don't think that's true. Please don't use this as fact. This is all just a terrible joke. Yeah, this is a terrible joke. I should not be joking about infidelity and war. Anywho, that's all I have had to say about this tape. Tune in next time for Lubisha Kalas Lubo Granata.